beautiful, lovely people, humans, starseeds. This is Sophia back with another update. I hope everyone is doing well during this time. We are at a very heightened time of love, fear, death, rebirth. There's a lot going on, and we are currently having a supermoon in Scorpio, which happened this morning officially. And this theme of death and birth and transformation just keeps coming in waves. Still dealing with the quarantines and numbers, tolls rising. It's a very interesting time to be alive. I'm sure everyone could agree. So I just wanted to talk about a little bit what is happening planetary, cosmically, astrology wise, with the full moon in Scorpio. So supermoon means that it's the closest to the planet that it will be, and it's actually all year. So when that happens, it's bigger, but it's also even more intensified. We are into Taurus season, and Taurus is a grounded energy. It's ruled by Venus. It's all about pleasingly aesthetics, love, things like that, solid ground, earth sign being in the physical. So with the full moon, it's the opposite of the sign, the sun, because it's across from the wave, right? And so when we have a full moon in Scorpio, I have some Scorpio in my chart, very active, and if you do as well, whether it's your sun, moon, Venus, rising, it doesn't matter, this probably rings even more close to home for you. I have been experiencing a lot of, transformation I have for a while in my awakening process. It kind of comes in waves, like checkpoints, and then once you reach a checkpoint, you really can't go back. And so last night, I'm sure people are realizing this, but with everything that's going on in the planet with us, with the humans, the animals are highly aware of what's going on right now. I live out kind of near some foothills, and so there's a lot of nighttime activity, a lot of coyotes outside, kind of running rampant like it's the wild, wild west out there. And unfortunately, a lot of animals are, they're all having a hard time right now, and they're dealing with a lot of death as well. And so having such an active night last night in the full moon in Scorpio really was illuminating this fear and this dark and this depth that we're all sitting in as a container and as in our own life experience. We're all being forced to face these things that we never thought maybe we would face or that we would have to face, but that it's like universe, God, source, spirit, Mama Gaia, the earth is like, well, you're going to deal with it anyway. So I'm sure a lot of us are still feeling this collective grief, so this death that's looming. We're experiencing it within ourselves symbolically. We're dealing with health issues, our loved ones, our animals, everything on this planet is, nature really is thriving right now, but it's also, there's a lot of death and rebirth. Like I said, I can say it over and over again until I'm blue in the face, or blue shirt. But anyway, so with that, so really what the moon does, and when it's a full moon, it's literally like a spotlight shining in the gutter, in the darkness. And it's like, all right, let's look at everything. And it's like, it hurts, like it's a vampire, like it doesn't get seen by light, but really it needs to be brought into the light to actually be transmuted and to no longer have power over us, right? And so what's that's all fear. What's the opposite of fear? It's love. So this yin and yang, back and forth, like push-pull that we're experiencing really is for us to purge these old energies, old aspects, old relationships, you name it, structures to crumble and be gone. And so the new can come in. Of course, it's very uncertain. Why are we so scared of death? Because it's the unknown. But how many times have we dealt and faced with something that is unknown and the results were actually way better than we thought? So really being open and honest and raw and vulnerable in those places that we are not usually able to be, or if we have a hard time with, give yourself some extra space. And you'll notice people around you, like if you're driving out and about, people are it gets really interesting during these times, and I know everybody is experiencing it. So what else is going on planetary wise? We also have the nodes, which is like they're invisible planets. It's the North Node and the South Node, that they just moved from Capricorn and Cancer into Gemini and Sagittarius. So the North Node in Gemini, the South Node in Sagittarius. The North Node is all about what's your purpose. It's kind of unknown, it's foreign, but it's really your North Star. It's your mission. It's like the direction you're supposed to go. And Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and so it's all about communication and higher learning and higher knowledge. And so, but it also is a dual sign, and it can have lower dense energies that are coming out. So this mindless chatter comes out in the middle of this. My nose is itching. Excuse me. And so really listening to and figuring out which one is the higher purpose and going for it, even if it's scary and unknown, because everything is unknown right now. So that just switched into Gemini. The South Node being our karma, it's a familiar place, it's where we've been. It's in Sagittarius, and that's a sign of learning as well. It's a fire sign, so it could be coming from carelessness or coming from a selfish, like this is past life term. So if like, for instance, if you have this in your chart, which I do, I'm having a nodal return, they call it. I am a Gemini and North Node and Sag and South Node. Is that basically it means that it's about taking what I've learned in this lifetime and the past lives to bringing it into the higher realm. So the South Node looking up to the North Node for your guidance. So now we're really all about, so communication is going to increase. Also Gemini rules technology, and so there's more happening online. I mean, pretty much that's all we've been able to do, right? And so with the Sagittarius supporting that, so it's a lot of higher learning. We're really going to go into this like, all right, we just came from this broken down structure that we're still trying to figure out, and then this nurturing sign of Cancer. Now, how can we move forward after the healing that we are ignited, right? So this is all about reflection. This is all about gaining your knowledge and bringing your gifts into this world if that's really what you're called to do right now, your mission work. So with that, Venus is actually right up against the nodes right now. The North Node in 29 degrees Gemini. The, Venus in pre-retrograde motion in the shadow period in Venus at 21 degrees. So she's about to station retrograde. And so the sign of love, beauty, our relationships is in the sign of Mercury. So it's going to be a little bit like a hidden Mercury retrograde. So if you're experiencing technical difficulties or glitching or anything and you're like, it's not Mercury retrograde, well, it kind of is. It's like a sheep or a wolf in sheep's clothing because it's in the sign of Gemini. And so this means more communication is going to come in from our loved ones. This could be past relationships, past friendships, partnerships that have needed to be neutralized. And so remaining neutral in your own and working through that. So they come to focus. So it's really about focusing honor higher love, honor higher purpose, and maybe releasing those old relationships or aspects or any of that that are just draining our energy. And we've got the sun in Taurus, and Uranus is right up next to that, as well as Mercury. So Mercury, Gemini, so more higher learning. So the sun up next to it, so it's illuminating maybe multiple options or multiple missions because it's a dual sign. So illuminating our higher purpose, our higher knowledge, like what we need to learn about ourselves and each other to actually move forward. And Uranus right up next to that is the higher octave of Mercury, and it's ruled by Aquarius, so it's very revolutionary. It's the higher mind, it's the higher learning, and it's the higher octave, like I said. And so this is kind of bringing in the messages from spirit and saying, like, maybe little hints and whispers about where you should be going or what you should be doing and focusing on. Or maybe you're hearing or experiencing more of the death side. And so really looking towards the sun, really looking towards your purpose, your higher purpose. What moves you? What awakens you? What drives you? It's not all about money anymore. It's money is energy, yes, but economies are crashing right now, and we're actually, a lot of us are individually thriving somehow, but also surviving. And so really using this time to tap into whatever it is that the messages that you're supposed to get. We also have, we still have the effects of Saturn, Pluto conjunct that we had in January, slow moving planets, so they're taking their time. Pluto just went into retrograde. Pluto is ruled by Scorpio, so more death, birth, transformation. There could be some taboo things being exposed right now, whether we like it or not. And of course, it's happening collectively, but that can absolutely be happening individually. Like I said, it's that flashlight on in the gutter. It's like, ooh, what's down here? Ooh, that's, but really it's where the good stuff is. And so you can work through that and heal that and move on, and it doesn't have any more precedence over you. So Saturn being at 1 degree Aquarius, thankfully, and so that is really starting to revolutionize our ideas on how we want to move forward with our structures, and restrictions and boundaries, having better personal boundaries, learning to say no. We're being forced right now, but also this is teaching us, a lot of us overextend ourselves and say yes too many times when we end up hurting for it later. And so this is really a time for us to take that power back. Jupiter is sitting right in the middle of Pluto and Saturn at 27 degrees Capricorn. So it's really expanding. It's like pulsating, expanding everything that it touches. That's what Jupiter does. It's the higher learning ruled by Sagittarius. So more higher learning coming in. So hard lessons. So expansion. So since it's up against basically restriction and like transformation or death, it's like it's forcing the death and it's forcing the life. So it's like happening, but it has to be equal, it has to be balanced. And so the scales are being balanced right now, and it seems like there's a lot of death going on, but that's because it's really overdue for us to really do that work. And now collectively we're being forced because we are heading into a new beautiful 5D energy. So that basically just looks like remaining in love and not entertaining fear to the point where it debilitates you. And saying, yeah, I need to do some work on myself, or yeah, I need to take more care of myself. I'm going to do that instead of going over here or talking to this person because they drain the shit out of me. Or I love that person, but we have nothing in common anymore. Every time I talk to them, it's just love them from afar. It's okay. Life moves on, you don't need to sit and dwell in that energy. So bless it and release it. Yeah, that's all I really see that's really kind of precedent right now. We do have Mars in Aquarius at 26 degrees, and it's really about to move into Pisces. which could get interesting. Mars is the planet of fire and war and our aggression and our motivation, and it represents the masculine. And it's really comfortable in Aries. It's really comfortable in the fire signs, basically, because it's able to really express itself. But when it's in a water sign, it's quite frustrated. It's like it keeps hitting these walls or hitting these like exhaustions, and then just kind of it ends up coming through as a water, as like the burst in some pipes, and here comes the water because we can't really express this energy. And so, but it is going to give us, it is going to help dampen down a little bit of the intensities that we're going to feel. It's going to, because right now in Aquarius, it's really revving up its energy to, it's in an air sign, and so it's really, there's a lot happening in the spiritual realm, is the way I see it. And so a lot of spiritual warfare, whatever you believe in, doesn't mean something doesn't exist because you don't believe. So really, again, it's about that, like I said, coming back to love and being grateful for where you're at, and being grateful for who you have in your life and your health, and that this change is coming, that this revolutionary moment is coming in all of our lives, and individually and collectively. Like, how often can you say, like, oh, I saw something that basically took down almost the entire planet? It's pretty heavy, but it's also incredible. It's an incredible time to be alive, and so don't waste it. So if you have any questions, or you want to know what's happening in your chart personally, go ahead and email me. It's groundedintheclouds1111@gmail.com. I will put the address below. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up, subscribe, share, and I will be back soon to do an elemental reading for May for all the different elements and signs. And so keep an eye out for that. And until then, I hope you have a beautiful day.